good morning and welcome to a very cloudy day here in the beautiful town of Alesund here in Norway, one of the biggest cities in Norway. Alesund was a bit rainy and a bit cold, but it was a great place to be. The first real time we could go looking at some shops and go around a big city. Stavanger would have been the first, but because the shops were closed on Sundays, we weren't able to go really do the shopping. So this would be a great opportunity to go and do that now. As with many of the other ports on this cruise, we didn't book any excursions and we decided to explore on our own. This gave us the opportunity just to walk around, take in the sights and just see things as if we were visiting on land. Sharing a dock with us was the Aida Prima, a German vessel, and it was a little bit bigger than us, and so there were quite a lot of cruise passengers in port. Now Alesund is very famous for its colourful waterfront properties, and they were really great in photos. I do wish that we'd be able to see them in the sun, as I think the sun reflecting on the water would have given them a really nice and bright look. However, the colours were certainly lovely to look at, and the housing was very, very nice. The first stop we had was to go and get some coffee and cakes, and it did start to rain quite heavily, but lucky, being from the UK, we never travel without an umbrella. One of the great things we found in Alesund was there was a nature hike that went up from the port to quite a high place up in sort of the hills. We were able to go and explore the parks and things like that. It was very rainy, so if you are worried about the weather, there are a lot of steps, so make sure you're wearing sensible shoes. There are some places that when you're walking up to the high parts of Alesund, there are steps, slopes, all of that sort of thing, and they can get wet and slippery. There are guardrails, but often when it's busy, the guardrails are hard to get to. There was some modern art up here which was very interesting, including this blob, cannons, and lots of stuff you could do. This was a walkway all the way to a top viewpoint, which was well advertised from the city centre, and from the top of this viewpoint you get great views down to the dock where the ships are, and you can see the entirety of the city from here. Look at the view. You can't really get this from your home. Well, if you can, tell me where you live and I'll come visit. Back down into the city centre now to go and look at some of the shops. Now there were the typical tourist shops where they sold Norway merchandise, great for if you want to collect things like shot glasses or magnets or key rings like a lot of people do, but there were also lots of opportunities to buy local goods, have some coffee and see some of the more unique and quirky sights like this little gnome. Here we are in Alesund here in Norway. As you can see behind me, I'm at the Alesund Museum. So we're going to have a little look and see how much it is to get in, what there is to see here, and see if it's something worth doing. So far we've walked around the city, had a look at some of the shops, had a look around some of the little cafes. It's really, really nice here. The one thing to be aware of is it's quite steep a lot of the places, so do be careful when it's raining like it was this morning.
the steps can get very slippery. So if you do have mobility issues, please do take care. And if you are coming on a cruise here, make sure you pack sensible walking shoes, as they will be very helpful. But yep, Alesund is lovely. There's lots of great shopping. It's a small city, so it's easy to get around in one day on your own, and you really don't need to fork out a lot of money for an expensive excursion when you can do most things on your own. There are hop-on, hop-off buses and trains available at the port, so as soon as you step off the ship, you have all of those completely accessible, and you'll be able to do that if you'd like.
Just time for one final walk around the city, just to remember the sights before we headed back to the ship and really sort of had the rest of our day. But it was lovely to visit Alesund, and I'd love to come back here again in the future. I hope you've enjoyed seeing it.
Just a few minutes walk from the cruise terminal, you'll actually find Alesund's tourist information centre. Here inside you can get maps, you can get tickets for tours and be pointed in the right direction of any of the sightseeing tour operators that you might find. Just over there, as you can see behind me, is the dock where there's lots of different boat tours and things like that operating, and you can just turn up. Some of them are longer than others. There's one that leaves at 9 a.m. and doesn't come back until 3, so that's a full sort of fjordal cruise. And inside, as I say, the Tourist Information Centre, you can find loads of guides, including detailed maps in multiple languages as well. So if you are speaking a different language, you'll be able to find them in here. Today, obviously, we are in port with the AIDA Prima, so a lot of German-speaking people here today, and they've been able to go in here and get some German language maps so they can help find their way around the port. So whatever you decide to do here in Alesund, make sure you pop in here. You might find that there are attractions that you never would have found out about if you hadn't have come here. Hello, Captain here. See the hat? So this is the view from my balcony here in Alesund in Norway. We're about to set sail and head on to Molde, our next port of call. Now Molde is a much smaller location here than Alesund, but it is much bigger than some places like Skjolden that we've been to. Molde is very famous for the Atlantic Road, as well as having 87 snow-capped mountains. How brilliant is that? Well, we're going to have a lovely dinner tonight. Hopefully you can join us by looking at our meals and thinking, those look delicious. But I'll see you tomorrow, bright and early, for a nice sail into Molde.
Then there was just enough time for a quick cocktail before heading to dinner. This evening's dinner menu I didn't keep to hand, but we did have a variety of dishes, including the soup, I think this was a caramelised pork puff, and there were a lot of delicious options on the menu tonight. But we'd eaten a lot during the day, and so we finished light with, well, at least I finished light with some fruit plate instead of having a big dessert. It was a great day today, a nice busy day, and we were looking forward to the next one. Lots of ports on this cruise, lots of opportunity to really explore Norway and get a really good understanding of what it's like to be in the fjords. I hope you liked all of the pictures, all of the views, and all of the discussion, and we'll see you next week for some more of these amazing Norwegian fjord memories. Thanks guys, stay safe.